Hey, it's Andrzej on Software. Today in the morning I received an email, which is the kind of emails that I receive quite often. And the email is asking about an existing Rails application, which is a typical Rails way, implemented in a typical Rails way, which means the business logic lies in the Rails models implemented with callbacks or validations. And basically it's all very heavily based on callbacks and some existing gems. So yeah, the question is how to get out of there, get more confident with adding new features, and that's the usual situation. That's the typical situation, and this is related to refactoring. This was a response to our RKC newsletter email, which was called "Refactoring the Human Factor." The problem with refactoring is that in order to do the refactoring, you need to know. I believe that you need to know what is your end goal. With refactoring, you're making a small step. And refactoring should always be small steps. I don't believe in big rewrites, huge replacements. Maybe if you have a perfect architecture and you can just take an existing unit and replace it with one other, then I can believe this can work. But in most cases, when you try to get out of a CRUD application, of a framework application, it's all in small steps. And I even wrote a book targeted to Rails developers. It's called Fearless Refactoring Rails Controllers, where I show techniques how to simplify the controllers step by step, introduce application services, adapters, and repositories. The main focus is on small steps. But also the focus is to understand that the goal is to have the business logic being separated from everything else. Because the business logic is the most important part, and you want to be able to change it and be confident that the changes still work and all the applications still work. So that's the end goal. The small steps are the techniques how to proceed. But then there is another important part, and many people miss this part. They learn some kind of new architectures, and then they go straight to the code trying to introduce it. And then we have a team conflict, because not all team members are equally pro-refactoring. And now suddenly you're on a bigger problem, because you're the one who's trying to changing the current status quo, and some people don't like it. So is there any way we can convince others to refactor? It's not easy. I often recommend that before you start refactoring, you need to make sure that everyone in the team is at least familiar with the problems that you are seeing. If you see that the problem is that you can't introduce new features easily, and you see that the team is introducing bugs very often, and you see that the code is untested, and you see that people are not proud of the code, then this is something that needs to be brought up before you actually do refactoring, or it should be something that it's reminded frequently. What next? Next is maybe you are aware of those nice architecture. Maybe you learned about domain-driven design. Maybe you learned about ports and adapters. Maybe it was Trailblazer. Whatever. But maybe they were not exposed to that yet. Maybe they were not spending the evenings reading all those blog posts as you did. And that's a great opportunity for you, because now you can present those techniques to the team. And it doesn't mean that you need to introduce those techniques to the code base. You can record a screencast and talk about those techniques. Maybe you can reference some of your existing problems and say that this domain-driven design techniques, maybe it's a bounded context, that this should help you. Maybe you can say this new feature, this is how the new feature would look like if it was a bounded context. So this is your role now as the educator in the team. And then when you at least present them what is the alternative, what is the one of the end goals, and you show them that you know the simple steps and the safe steps to get there, then the team can trust you. Because otherwise, especially if you're new in the team, that's a very often situation. You're new in the job, new in the project, there are 4 or 5 people in the project, and you're suddenly, in the first week, you're trying to introduce all the changes. You have no trust yet. They will not trust you, even if your intentions are great. They will not trust you. You need to gain trust first. So in the new projects, you first need to deliver value by delivering features as best as you can, which is obviously a problem because the code quality might be not best. But that's the way you gain trust, by delivering features quickly. and with nice quality. So it's kind of a paradox, but that's the easiest way overall. And so showing the people the end goal, like what can their code look like using some kind of architectural techniques, and then showing them that there are some steps in between that can be done. Obviously, it all relies on tests, and selling test-driven development is another not so easy task. So it's all not so easy overall. I think no one said that introducing nice architectures or refactoring to the project will be easy, especially when they have arguments like, do we really need to change the existing code? And they say refactoring takes a lot of time, and I wouldn't refactor this part. I would refactor it differently. Those are the common arguments, and you need to know answers to those questions because they will be raised up sooner or later. So be prepared and happy refactoring. And thanks for listening.